Chevrolet Camaro first generation.
The first-generation Chevrolet Camaro appeared in dealerships on September 29, 1966, for the 1967 model year on an all-brand-new rear-wheel drive GMF body platform and would be available as a two-door, 2+2 seat, coupe or convertible with a choice of 6-cylinder and V8 powerplants. The first-gen Camaro would last up through the 1969 model year. The Camaro's standard drivetrain was a 230 cubic inches, 3.8 L, straight-six engine rated at 140 horsepower, 104 kilowatts, and backed by a Saginaw 3-speed manual transmission. There were 8, in 67, 10, in 68, and 12, in 69, different engines available in 67 to 69 Camaros. And there were several transmission options. A 4-speed manual was optional, replacing the base 3-speed. The 2-speed Powerglide automatic transmission was a popular option in 1967 and 1968 until the 3-speed turbo-hydromatic 350 automatic became available starting in 1969. The larger turbo 400 3-speed automatic was an option on SS396 cars. There was a plethora of other options available all 3 years, including 3 main packages. The RS was an appearance package that included hidden headlights, revised tail lights with backup lights under the rear bumper, RS badging, and exterior bright trim. It was available on any model. The SS Performance package consisted of a 350 or 396 cubic inches V8 engine and chassis upgrades for better handling and to deal with the additional power. The SS featured non-functional air inlets on the hood, special striping, and SS badging. The Z/28 Performance package was designed, with further modifications, to compete in the SCCA Trans Am series. It included a solid lifter 302 V8, 4-speed transmission, power disc brakes, and 2 wide stripes down the hood and deck lid. Almost all of 1967 to 1969 Camaros were built in the 2 U.S. assembly plants, Norwood, Ohio and Van Nuys, California. There were also 5 non-U.S. Camaro assembly plants in countries that required local assembly and content. These plants were located in the Philippines, Belgium, Switzerland, Venezuela, and Peru.
1967.
The 1967 Camaro shared the subframe/semi-unibody design with the 1968 Chevy 2 Nova. Almost 80 factory and 40 dealer options, including 3 main packages, were available. The RS was an appearance package that included hidden headlights, revised tail lights with backup lights under the rear bumper, RS badging, and exterior rocker trim. The SS included a 350 cubic inches, 5.7 L, V8 engine and the L35 and L78 396 cubic inches, 6.5 L, big block V8s were also available. The SS featured non-functional air inlets on the hood, special striping, and SS badging on the grille, front fenders, gas cap, and horn button. It was possible to order both the SS and RS to receive a Camaro or SSS. In 1967, a Camaro or SSS convertible with a 396 engine paced the Indianapolis 500. The Z/28 option code was introduced in December 1966 for the 1967 model year. It was the brainchild of Vince Piggins, who conceived offering virtually race-ready Camaros for sale from any Chevrolet dealer. This option package was not mentioned in any sales literature, so it was unknown to most buyers. The Z/28 option required power front disc brakes and a close-ratio Muncie 4-speed manual transmission. Per-seat traction was optional. It featured a 302 cubic inches, 4.9 L, small block V8 engine, 3 inches crankshaft with 4-bore, an aluminum intake manifold, and a 4-barrel vacuum secondary Holley carburetor of 780 CFM. The engine was designed specifically to race in the Trans Am series, which required engines smaller than 305 cubic inches, 5.0 L, and public availability of the car. Advertised power of this engine was listed at 290 horsepower, 216 kilowatts. This is an underrated figure. Chevrolet wanted to keep the horsepower rating at less than 1 horsepower per cubic inch, for various reasons, for example insurance and racing classes. The factory rating of 290 horsepower occurred at 5,300 RPMs, while actual peak for the high-revving 302 was closer to 360 horsepower, 268 kilowatts, with a single 4-barrel carb, and 400 horsepower, 298 kilowatts, with optional dual 4-barrel carbs, at 6,800, 7,000 RPM. The Z/28 also came with upgraded suspension, racing stripes on the hood and trunk lid, 302 front fender emblems on the 67 and early 68 cars, and Z/28 emblems in late 68 and 69. It was also possible to combine the Z/28 package with the RS package. Only 602 Z/28s were sold in 1967, along with approximately 100 Indianapolis pace car replicas. The 1967 and 1968 Z/28s did not have the cowl induction hood, optional on the 1969 Z/28s. The 1967 Z28 received air from an open element air cleaner or from an optional cowl plenum duct attached to the side of the air cleaner that ran to the firewall and got air from the cowl vents. 15-inch rally wheels were included with Z/28s while all other 1967-9 Camaros had 14-inch wheels. The origin of the Z/28 nameplate came from the RPO codes. RPO Z28 was the code for the Special Performance package. RPO Z27 was for the Super Sport package. Cars assembled in Switzerland, at GM's local facility in Biel, were all coupes with the 198 picoseconds, 146 kilowatts, 195 horsepower, 4,638 cc's, 283 cubic inches, small block V8, an engine which was not available in contemporary Camaros built in the United States. The Swiss-built Camaros were not available with a 3-speed manual and had a differential lock and front disc brakes as standard. Some additional safety equipment was also standard. Production numbers.
1968.
The styling of the 1968 Camaro was very similar to the 1967 design. With the introduction of Astro ventilation, a fresh air inlet system, the side vent windows were deleted. Side marker lights were added on the front and rear fenders, which was a government requirement for all 68 vehicles. It also had a more pointed front grille and divided rear tail lights. The front running lights, on non-RS models, were also changed from circular to oval. The big block SS models received chrome hood inserts that imitated velocity stacks. The shock absorber mounting was staggered to resolve wheel hop issues, and higher performance models received multi-leaf rear springs instead of single-leaf units. A 396 cubic inches, 6.5 L, 350 horsepower, 261 kilowatts, big block engine was added as an option for the SS, and the Z28 appeared in Camaro brochures. The 427 cubic inches, 7.0 L, was not available as a regular production option, RPO. Several dealers, such as Baldwin Motion, Dana, and Yenko, offered the 427 as a dealer-installed replacement for the factory-supplied 396 SID engine. Production numbers.
1969.
The 1969 Camaro carried over the previous year's drivetrain and major mechanical components, but all new sheet metal, except the hood and trunk lid, gave the car a substantially sportier look. The grille was redesigned with a heavy V-cant and deeply inset headlights. New door skins, rear quarter panels, and rear valance panel also gave the car a much lower, wider, more aggressive look. This styling would serve for the 1969 model year only. Collectors often debate the merits of smooth, rounded lines of 1967 and 1968 model versus the heavily creased and sportier looks of the 1969. To increase competitiveness in the SCCA Trans Am Racing Series, optional 4-wheel disc brakes with 4-piston calipers were made available during the year, under IPO July 8, for $500 This system used components from the Corvette and made for a major improvement in the braking capability and was a key to winning the Trans Am Championship. The option was expensive and only 206 units were produced. The Rally Sport RS option, RPO Z22, includes special black painted grille with concealed headlights and headlight washers, fender striping, except when sport striping or Z28 special performance package is specified, simulated rear fender louvers, front and rear wheel opening moldings, black body sill, RS emblems on grille, steering wheel and rear panel, Rally Sport front fender nameplates, bright accented taillights, backup lights below rear bumper. Also includes bright roof strip moldings on Sport Coupe. $131.65, 37,773 built. This option could be added to any other option IESS or Z/28, making the model an RSSS or a RSZ28. The Z28 option was still available with the 302 SID small block. It was backed by Muncie 4-speed with a new 469 standard Hurst shifter and connected to a 12-bolt rear axle with standard 3.73 gears. The 302 featured 11-1 compression, forged pistons, forged steel crankshaft and connecting rods, solid lifter camshaft, and Holley carburetion on a dual-plane intake manifold. A dual 4-barrel cross-ram intake manifold was available as a dealer-installed option. The 1969 model year was exceptionally long, extending into November 1969, due to manufacturing problem that delayed the introduction of the second-generation model planned for 1970. It is a popular myth late 69 Camaros were sold as 1970 models, due to GM publicity pictures of the 69 Camaro labeled as a 1970, but they were all assigned 1969 van codes. Production numbers.
COPO 427s.
A Graham corporate edict forbade Chevrolet from installing engines larger than 400 cubic inches, 6.6 L. Requests from dealers, notably Don Yenko, who a dealer installing 427 cubic inches, 7.0 L, engines in the Camaro caused Chevrolet to use an ordering process usually used on fleet and special orders, taxis, trucks, etc. to offer 427 engines in the Camaro. Two central office production orders, COPO, numbers 9560 and 9561, were offered in the 1969 model year. The COPO 9561 used the solid lifter L72 big block engine, making an underrated 425 horsepower, 317 kilowatts, gross. Yenko ordered 201 of these cars to create the now legendary Yenko Camaro. Other dealers also became aware of the L72 engine package and ordered it. Around 900 to 1,000 Camaros were fitted with the L72 engine option. The COPO 9560 used an all-aluminum 427 cubic inches, 7.0 L, big block called the ZL1 and was designed specifically for drag racing. The package was conceived by drag racer Dick Carroll, and ordered through Fred Gibbs Chevrolet in La Harpe, Illinois, with the intention of entering NHRA Superstock drag racing. Just 69 ZL1 Camaros were produced, the engine alone cost over $4,000, nearly twice that of a base coupe with a V8. Though rated at 430 horsepower, 321 kilowatts, gross, the ZL1 made 376 SAE net HP in its installed state. With exhaust changes and some tuning, the horsepower jumped to over 500. The ZL1 engines were hand-assembled in a process that took 16 hours each, in a room that Corvette chief engineer Zora Arkus Duntov described as surgically clean. All ZL1 engines were manufactured at the Tonawanda assembly plant before being installed in Corvettes, Camaros, or sold over the counter to racers.
First-generation engines.
1967 to 1969 L26 230 cubic inches, 3.8 L, I6 140 horsepower, 104 kilowatts, 1967 to 1969 L22 250 cubic inches, 4.1 L, I6 155 horsepower, 116 kilowatts, at 4200 RPMs, 235 pounds by foot, 319 newtons by meter, at 1600 RPMs. 1967 to 1969 Z28 302 cubic inches, 4.9 L, V8 290 horsepower, 216 kilowatts, rated, 350 horsepower, 261 kilowatts, actual. 1967 to 1969 LF7 327 cubic inches, 5.4 L, V8 210 horsepower, 157 kilowatts. 1967 to 1968, L30 327 cubic inches, 5.4 L, V8 275 horsepower, 205 kilowatts. 1969, L14 307 cubic inches, 5.0 L, V8 200 horsepower, 168 kilowatts. 1969, LM1 and L65 350 cubic inches, 5.7 L, V8 255 horsepower, 190 kilowatts, and 250 horsepower, 186 kilowatts. 1967 to 1969 L48 SS 350 350 cubic inches, 5.7 L, V8 295 horsepower, 220 kilowatts. 1969 300 horsepower, 224 kilowatts at 4800 RPMs, 380 pounds by foot, 515 newtons by meter, at 3200 RPMs. 1967 to 1969 L35 SS 396 396 cubic inches, 6.5 L, V8 325 horsepower, 242 kilowatts, at 4800 RPMs, 410 pounds by foot, 556 newtons by meter, at 3200 RPMs. 1968 to 1969 L34 SS 396 396 cubic inches, 6.5 L, V8 350 horsepower, 261 kilowatts, at 5200 RPMs, 415 pounds by foot, 563 newtons by meter, at 3200 RPMs. 1967 to 1969 L78 SS 396 396 cubic inches, 6.5 L, V8 375 horsepower, 280 kilowatts, at 5600 RPMs, 415 pounds by foot, 563 newtons by meter, at 3600 RPMs. 1968 to 1969 L89 aluminum cylinder head option for the L78 SS 396/375 engine, lightened the engine by 100 pounds, 45 kilograms. 1969 COPO 9561 per litre 72 427 cubic inches, 7.0 L, V8 425 horsepower, 317 kilowatts. At 5600 RPMs, 460 pounds by foot, 624 newtons by meter, at 4000 RPMs. 1969 COPO 9560/ZL1 427 cubic inches, 7.0 L, V8 430 horsepower, 321 kilowatts, at 5200 RPMs, 450 pounds by foot, 610 newtons by meter, at 4400